If someone would have told me I would be driving there daily for 2 hours, I would say, yeah, you're out of your mind. But I do it. 2 hours with a little bit of road rage. Just a little bit of road rage. And wanting to snatch people out and smack them. Hi, so I have no hair content today, so we're gonna talk. I'm gonna share one of my many experiences transitioning into adulthood that I had to, learn the hard way. So today's, topic is how I got over my fear of driving and obtained my license at 22 years old. This is 22 going into 23, to be honest. And this is a big deal because you hear a lot of people, start getting their permit at 16 years old, and by 18 they have their driver's license while in high school, already in college. I got mine a year after graduating from college, a year into my career outside of college. So we're going to talk about that while I do my makeup. So this is not a makeup tutorial, so I'm just going to be, painting my face, not saying what I'm using. I might leave it down in the description box down below, but let's get into it. So prior to getting my license, I already came to terms with the fact that driving was too scary, that I'm never going to be able to drive because it was way too scary and I couldn't get over it. I told myself, when I get of age, I'm just going to hire a professional driver and buy a car, just hire a professional driver and, someone that's going to drive me around. It's so cute to say little things like that when you're younger until, you get to adulthood and reality sets in. Where are you getting the money from to pay a professional? Like, who are you? Where are you getting the money from to pay a professional driver to drive you around? Like, who are you? You're not like from a rich parent. So how's that gonna happen? So it was a cute little fantasy. So reality set in. I also wanted to mention that I didn't have a parent or primary caregiver to teach me how to drive. I did not have that. So I'm already at a disadvantage right here. So I did not have a primary caregiver that could teach me how to drive. So, I didn't let it bother me until, I got to college. I graduated college. And that's when reality set in for me. And also I wanted to mention I'm a very, 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 very independent person. If you find yourself as a very, very independent person, not knowing how to drive is going to hold you back. It will literally hold you back. If you're a very naturally independent person, not knowing how to drive will hold you back. So you have to do what you have to do. So I had an ex-boyfriend in college that didn't know how to drive, and he had a car too. He had his license. Once in a while I'll tell him to teach me, and this is why he's an ex-boyfriend. I used to always beg. I've never had to beg so much in my life in a relationship. I used to always beg him. Whew, I was tired of begging. So I got my first career job out of college. Everything was sweet. My ex-boyfriend would drop me off, and this guy was so evil that he would use the fact that he had a car and he knew how to drive against me. So for example, I get out of work at 5, so at 4:30 I would say, I'm packing up, can you be here soon? He would block me. He would literally block my number, and I'm stranded. At this time there was no Uber. There were public transportation, but there's no Uber. And he would block my number, and now I don't have a way home. I remember I had to ask a coworker, can she please drop me off? And I hate asking people. Not that I hate asking people for help, I just hate being an inconvenience to people. Like, I hate it so much. I hate being an inconvenience, but I needed a ride. So I remember asking one of my coworkers, and you can tell in her face that I was being an inconvenience to her. And no shade to her. I was being an inconvenience to her. This is a woman that has kids, and after work she has to go pick up her kids from work. So I'm being an inconvenience to her. But she did give me a ride, and that was the last time I ever asked her for a ride, because I knew how much of an inconvenience I was to her. So the ex-boyfriend, he left me stranded, and after that we made up. He would drop me off again. Another time he did the same thing, but this time I called a cab to come pick me up. I remember I didn't want anyone to know what was going on. I would go to after work, I would go to my nearest Starbucks. I would sit there and wait for my cab to come pick me up. So after a while, I was just done with the wishy-washy from this ex-boyfriend, that he would, I never know when he was gonna leave me stranded. So I learned how to take the public transportation to work, even though it meant that I had to get up, I had to wake up earlier than usual. It was fine. So I started taking the public transportation, and let me tell you, I went through hell. And I went through being with someone that had used the fact that I didn't know how to drive, or I didn't have a license. He used it against me. I'll give you another great example, okay? So I graduated college again. I graduated college in 4 years. He wasn't able to graduate college in 4 years, so he had an extra year to complete college. So I'm in my career already. I'm working the corporate life, 9-to-5 job. He, on the other hand, he's still going to college to finish his 5th year. And then I remember one day in the morning, I went over to his place to go visit him. And mind you, I don't know how to take the public transportation from his place. I only learned how to take a public transportation from my place. So I remember one morning I got ready, ready to go to work again. He was supposed to drop me off, and he was like, "Let me see your bank account." I said, "No, I don't need to show you my bank account." He was like, "Well, I'm not taking you to work. It's my car. I don't have to take you." I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. It was not a joke. It was not a joke. He said, "I'm not taking you until you," and I said, "That's a boundary. I'm not willing to let you cross, because I don't want to show you my bank account. Why do you feel threatened by how much I'm making? I'm not showing you my bank." He literally wanted to see my bank account. I said, "No." He said, "Well, I'm not taking you to work." I thought it was a joke. I watched him get dressed. While I was late for work, I watched him, take his time. He got dressed. He got in his car, and I jumped in the car with him also. I was like, "You're gonna drop me up, you're gonna drop me." He didn't even say anything. He got in the car, he drove to his own destination, got out, locked the car, and just went about his day. And I'm sitting in this place stranded with no ride. I'm an hour and 30 minutes late for work. He really meant it. He said he wasn't giving me a ride. So I did what I had to do. What can I do? I called an Uber to come pick me up, and I got to work 2 hours late. And I was so embarrassed that I couldn't tell them what was going on. So I lied. That was the moment where I said, I need to get over the fear and get to work. So after that experience with such a shitty ex-boyfriend, not having a primary caregiver teach you how to drive, I didn't have that. Barely had any money, barely making any money, and living with 3 other housemates. So this gives you a picture of where I was in life, okay? I had just graduated college. I was living with 3 other housemates. So it was 4 of us in total. I was barely making any money, and I had a shitty ass ex-boyfriend that, did that to me. I said this was enough. I started doing my research, and I looked for the closest driver's ed next to me. And mind you, I still did not break up with this ex-boyfriend. I had super low self-esteem then. I did not know my worth. Well, we just thank God for growth. So I researched the nearest and closest and most, affordable driver's ed. I found one, and it was $500. Again, I already painted a picture of where I was in life, and $500 was a lot of money. It was a lot of money, but I was willing to do anything at that point. So I told myself I was going to save save $500 and immediately pay it off and go to driver's ed. So I saved the money, did what I had to do to save the money, and I enrolled myself into driver's ed. And because I paid for it, and not this, I think there's a difference when it comes to driver's ed. There's a difference between you paying for it, you working for the money and paying for it, versus a parent paying for it. I feel like when a parent pays for you, you don't take it as serious. But when you work for that money and know how hard you had to work for that money, you pay for it, you take it serious. So I took it very serious. I had about 9 lessons. And they were so flexible. They would pick me up from home or they would pick me up from work. So during my lunch break, 45 minutes is the lesson. They would pick me up from work, and during my lunch break, I would take my lessons during my lunch break, because it was very important for me to learn the roads and the areas around my work, because I worked every day and I was going to be driving to work every day. So I did driving lessons at home, I did driving lessons at work, and at that point I was very open with my boss, my coworker, and they were very, very supportive of me. If I needed extra time during lunch, so let's say instead of 45 minutes, it took 50 minutes or 60 minutes, they were very, very, very understanding, and for that I'm very grateful. So I took it very serious. They were rooting for me, they knew I had to take this serious, and this is something I wanted, and I had to, take the test too eventually. So they were really rooting for me, and I do very much appreciate that. So again, I had 9 lessons. I took it very serious, and one thing about those lessons is you need to do your homework. You cannot just take the lesson and forget about it. You need to go home and do your homework. So for example, I said I didn't break up with this ex-boyfriend yet. I might have had really low self-esteem, but I was smart and very calculated. I know I still needed him in some way, so I kept him around. This is my story, okay? So I kept him around. I stomached more of the stuff he did to me, and I was kept telling myself, it's not gonna be forever. It's not gonna be forever. It's almost over. I kept telling myself that. So I kept him around because I needed him for my homework. So after my lessons, I needed to go home and learn how to drive, but I needed someone beside me. Again, I already got my permit. Permit is a written test, which is easy, is a cake. So I had my permit at that time. You also cannot enroll into driver's ed without your permit. You need your permit. So let's clear that out. I did have my permit. So I needed this ex-boyfriend for my homework. So he would still drop me off at work after I begged. And I would say, let me drive and sit next to me and, watch me. There were days where he was that boyfriend that was hot and cold. And you never know when it's going to be hot. You never know. You just got to brace yourself. So I would say, how about I drive and, watch me. And that's how slowly I was doing my homework. And I was learning. I was getting better. He would let me drive to work, and then he would drive back home, or like a grocery store. He would let me drive there and watch me and drive back home. Or when he came to visit me and we were going back to his place, he would let me drive and critique me and help me and watch me. So again, I kept him around. He was hot and cold, and when it got hot, it felt like hell. I don't know what hell, but I would assume that's what hell felt like. So I kept him around. So slowly but surely I got better. I was still scared. This fear did not go away. I was still pretty scared, but this was just something I had to do it. And one of my favorite life motto, M-O-T-T-O, is do it scared. Anyway, just do it scared. And I live 90% of my life just doing things that scare me, but I do it scared. And I think that's helped me a lot, to be honest. And also, I know this is so random, but I talk to myself a lot. I'm an introverted person. I talk to myself a lot. And I told myself that, God forbid I die doing something that I was scared of, nervous about, I think I would be at peace knowing that I died trying out something that I was scared of. Like I would be at peace knowing that, you know, while I was doing something that made me so scared. But I don't know if that makes sense, but I made my peace with that. So I do things scared. I do it scared. So slowly but surely I got better on my driver's ed. My instructor was great. I didn't have to switch him out or anything like that. He was awesome. He was like an older man. I miss him so much. And while the lessons were going good, I started looking for a used car that I can buy cash. And I came across a car. You know, my first car was a 2010 car. I came across a car from a family member. He was willing to sell it for me for $4,000, and I started saving. I saved up my $4,000. And after my lessons were over, it was time for me to take my driver's license exam test. I was so scared. Again, I'm always scared, but I still do it anyway. I was so scared. My instructor tried to calm me down. He gave me one last lesson like 30 minutes before the test, and I used the same car that I've been using to learn how to drive. I use the same car, so I know how it works. I don't have anything new or strange in front of me. And again, I've told you how my co-workers and my boss were super supportive. They were rooting for me. I told them, you know, I have to go take my test. You know, they wish me luck and all of that. I took it during like work hours, and I passed. I passed on the first try. Like, I literally passed. And you see, one thing about those DMV people, I always tell myself that the DMV people and the immigration people are really they are special kind of people with no emotions. Like, I've been through immigration process, I've been through DMV process, and the people they hire in those positions are really special kind of people. Like, you could be bawling your eyes saying, my daughter, my kid is dying. They don't care. They have to just show zero emotions, because I mean, their job is to, I guess, protect, or I don't know, but they show zero emotions. Like, oh, you don't have that, well, set another appointment and come back. Oh, you failed, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, set another appointment and come back. You know, they're, you know, hey, but they're doing your job. So I passed. I was so shocked. I passed, and I was so happy. And at this time, I had saved money to get this car for $4,000, and it was time for me to go get the car. So I passed my driver's license exam right away. They gave me the temporary, I guess, slip, and then the actual card comes in, I guess, a week or two, something like that. So I was so happy I got it. I remember, you know, walking into work, and everyone was just like, you know, just the anticipation, and I was like, I passed. And they were so fucking happy for me. Like, I was the youngest on my job at that time. Like, I was literally their baby. And I remember saying, I passed. And they were like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you know, they were so happy for me. And they were like, do you have any plans for a car? I'm like, yes. My uncle is selling me a car for $4,000. And I'm going to go on the weekend to go get it. So it was, let's just say, 2.5-hour drive. So we're gonna bring in the ex-boyfriend again. I told the ex-boyfriend, can you you know, drive me to Syracuse to go pick up my car? Like, we can take the public transportation. I'll pay for it. Okay, I'm offered to pay for it. Take me there, and then we can drive back together. You don't have to drive. I will drive, and you can, you know, sit next to me, because I'm still nervous. Although I passed, I was still nervous. I still had that driving anxiety. He said, I don't know, I can't do it. Like, again, this was a relationship where I had to beg so much. I never had to beg so much in my life, and I hated it. But I was so close, you know. I was so close to, like, I guess, disposing them. I don't know, but I was so close, and I begged and begged and begged, and I guess he made up his mind that he's not going to do it. So I asked the co-worker, I was like, can you please help me? He said he's never taken a public transportation before, but he said he was willing to help me. This was a stranger. He was a stranger. I told him I'll pay for everything. He was like, no, don't worry about it. So he paid for his Greyhound bus to Syracuse. He met me there in Syracuse at the bus stop. I had went to Syracuse. This is from Buffalo to Syracuse. I went to Buffalo on a Friday. Spent time, I don't know. I went to Buffalo on a Friday, and I was gonna leave on a Sunday. So he came down on a Sunday to meet me at the bus station. And so I drove from home to the bus station. I met him there, and I was forever grateful, because really God will put people in your lives at the right moment to help you. And I was really grateful. I was willing to pay him whatever he wanted, you know. So I met him at the bus station, you know. He got in there. He actually drove. And after like an hour, I drove to, and he was teaching me, you know, this is the fast lane, this is the passing lane, this is the slow lane, the minimum speed, look out for this, look out for that, you know. He checked the car for me to make sure it was good. And this is a co-worker that I had known for barely 4 or 3 months. He did that for me, and I was very grateful. We got to Syracuse. We drove to his house so I could drop him off, and after that, you know, I drove home safely. I texted him like, hey, I got home safely. I drove him myself. You know, I was so excited. And, you know, I saw him at work on Monday, and, you know, I told my job, I told him how he helped me, and I was, you know, very grateful. And that was it. So now I have my car, and I have my license, and I discarded that ex-boyfriend. I was done. And it's just crazy because this is not the only things he let's not talk about the cheating part, you know. Let's not get into that, because that's not what this is about. But after I got my license, I got my 2010 Hyundai Elantra for $4,000 paid off. I got insurance, you know, and I started learning how to, you know, slowly drive. I was still scared. Again, I do stuff scared while I'm scared, because sooner or later I'll gain the confidence. So I was driving to work, you know, little places, work, grocery stores, and, you know, things like that. I don't go out much. And also with the driver's ed, after you pass your license, you can call them whenever you want to, and they can take you on the highway to, you know, teach you how to drive on the highway. But I never did that. I just got on the highway. I just got on it and did it. And I remember, yeah, I have so many stories. I remember getting on that highway. It was a skyway in Buffalo, and my legs were literally like, and I kept telling myself, you could do it, you could do it, you could do. My legs were like this. They were shaking. And then another time, while I was, see, these mistakes are going to happen, and you gotta just brace yourself for that. I remember another time I was coming home from work, 10 o'clock, and I had gotten a second job so I can afford the car and the driver's ed. I got a second job at Home Depot, so I was working from, I think, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I had to get on the highway to get to this job. And I remember that I got off work at 10 o'clock, and I got on the highway. And if you are a driver, you know what a fork is, and you know what it means to take the wrong fork. So your GPS will tell you keep left at the fork, but if you take a right, you are in a totally different place. Usually it takes me, like, let's just say 25-30 minutes to get home. I was on the highway looping around for an hour, and that really taught me a lot. I was scared. My legs were doing this, shaking. It was shaking, but I didn't have, you know, I was in Buffalo alone, away from family. Experience, all I can say is experience is the best lesson. Is that best teacher? Experience is the best teacher, and that statement sums up my entire life until now, and will continue to sum up my life. Experience is the best teacher, and do it scared. Do it scared. So if someone would have told me that I would be driving on Atlanta's 80. If you're from Atlanta, you know the 285 and the 85 and the 78, especially the 285 and the 85. Crazy. If someone would have told me I would be driving there daily for 2 hours, I would say, yeah, you're out of your mind. But I do it. 2 hours with a little bit of road rage, just a little bit of road rage, and wanting to snatch people out and smack them. But I do it. And if someone would have told me that you'll be driving on one of the biggest highways, don't worry, you learn, I would have said, you're out of your mind. I would never, because I had told myself I would never. It's too scary. But experience is the best teacher. And not everyone gets to experience what I experienced. But again, if you're a highly independent person, not knowing how to drive, not having your license, not having a car will hold you back. And if you hate, asking for help because you don't want to seem like an inconvenience, you want to be free, knowing how to drive gives you a freedom that I can't even put into words. But again, I'm not ashamed that I got it at 22, turning 23. I'm turning 26 in a month now. So let's just say I've been roughly driving for about 3 years now. I've been roughly driving for about 3 years now, and I would say the scariness and the anxiety I used to feel has come down. Let's just say it used to be at 100%. It has come down to like 10%. And that 10% is when I'm going to a new location that I've never been before. But I still do it. And I know the road signs and things. I do it confidently. You got to be confident. Fake it till you make it. But yes, driver's ed, definitely recommend it. Take it serious. If you could pay for yourself and not let someone else, pay for yourself and take it serious. Do your homework, so you get your homework. So find a trusted person. Hopefully it's a friend, or maybe your primary caregiver. I'm not the greatest teacher, but they can help with your homework. So if a parent's like, I don't think I'm confident enough to teach you, that's fine. Enroll into a driver's ed, but they can help you with your homework. So if you are in your mid 20s, early 20s, late 20s, and you're feeling down about like wanting to drive and just being so scared, but if you feel like it's holding you back, it's not too late. It's not too late. And you know what? Sometimes we often underestimate how much of a risk driving is. And sometimes it's not even about you. It's about those selfish people that get on the road and, drive drunk, texting while driving. It's not about you. It's about those selfish people. And I understand where that fear comes from, because that's exactly where my fear came from. I don't think the problem was going to be me. I knew the problem was going to be the other people, all the selfish people on the road. But so you don't have to if you really don't want to be honest. Don't let anyone force you. But if you do truly feel like you want to learn and it's holding you back, and you're just independent person, you want to experience this freedom, it's not too late. It's literally not too late. Don't feel bad because someone got theirs at 16 and you're 20 something. No need to feel ashamed. You don't have to feel ashamed. But if you want to, I recommend driver's ed, to be honest. Like driver's ed, if you don't have the money, find a plan on how to save it. And mine was $500. Find a way to put the money aside until you get to the exact amount that you need. So it was $500 for me. It might be different at different location, different states, I don't know. But it's not too late. You can do it. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Don't feel bad. And if you live in one of those big cities like New York City, where everyone takes the train and things like that, and you would never get anywhere with a car, you don't have to watch. You could watch this video, but don't feel bad at all. I lived in a small area in New York, and I live in Atlanta too. I need a car to get around. So I had to. And also I had a job. I'm an architecture designer. So oftentimes I'm out with a client. I'm out on site. So what do you think is going to take me out on site? I needed that freedom to be like, hey, call my boss and say, hey, I'm heading to X, Y, and Z site. I'll be in 12, 11 o'clock and I'm heading there. I wanted that freedom. Imagine being passed up on a project that you really wanted to someone else because, you know, the company come to a conclusion that there's no way that, you know, you can drive there after hours or before hours and things like that. Like, it sucks. That's some of the things I felt like was gonna happen if I didn't, you know, learn how to drive. Like, I wanted that freedom. I wanted those projects where I can go independently and drive there and not wait for someone to give me a ride and depend. Yeah, so again, if your job is something like that, you need it. You need that freedom. You really do need it. Okay, so my makeup actually came out better than I expected. But yes, that is my experience on getting my license at 22. So if you are someone that, you know, based on my story, you're in that position right now, I am rooting for you. I literally am rooting for you. It's not too late, you know. It's literally never too late. You can still obtain it and experience this freedom. It's like a whole new world. Experience this freedom, this level of independence that I cannot put into words for you. I'm just saying anything now, but yeah, that is my story, that is my experience, and you know, I'm hoping I can come on here more and share my experiences in hopes that it will help, you know, younger adult. I feel like I'm a young adult, but like younger adult, like, you know, the 18, 19, 20, 21, you know. Hopefully I can help. And yeah, that is the end of this video. And this is still the same hair from my last video. It's been a month and a week, and I do plan on carrying it for 3 months. So we got a month and some change left to rock this hairstyle. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in my next one. Bye.